We use Odoo Accounting for our German clients. We have tweaked Odoo to do as much as possible in Standard. Today, I show one thing to make the auditor, in German Wirtschaftsprüfer, happy. You know, in Germany, the market is dominated by DATEV and SAP. Those two systems are completely different, but they are similar in how they do the accounting. On the other side, Odoo does the accounting quite differently. Odoo versus DATEV and SAP are like two different worlds. In today's talk, I will talk about how we connect the two worlds. There are certain things that we need to do to make DATEV, respectively SAP consultants, happy to use Odoo. But first, let me introduce myself. I am Manuel Sauer, the CEO of Samsa IT. We are an Odoo Gold partner, and our clients are corporations, corporate startups, utilities industry companies, service providers, and trade companies. We are specialized not just on the IT part, but also on corporate policies like security, data protection, reliability, and scalability. Also, we are experts in IT architecture and in particular when it comes to the integration of SAP systems. Let's start. At first, I want to introduce to you the common accounting system architectures in Germany. Here you see the main system architectures in Germany when it comes to accounting. In the first scenario, you can do the billing and the accounting preparation with Odoo. And you can export all the invoices to SAP, and you can do the accounting there. Who uses this approach? Well, big companies use SAP, and sometimes they need something that we call a speedboat. A speedboat is like a small project which results in a system that can be put in front of SAP. And Odoo is very suitable to do this because it has a very handy CRM and a very powerful invoicing. So we can do the speedboat with Odoo and put Odoo in front of SAP without having to change the accounting there whatsoever. Also, other companies use this approach when they want to replace SAP in two steps. The first being replacing CRM and invoicing, and the second step replacing accounting itself. The second architecture is the following. You can do the billing in Odoo, and you can export all invoices to DATEV. Well, DATEV is the accounting reference in Germany because almost every tax consultant uses it. So it's very clear which companies are using it. First, big companies use it to do the accounting and fiscal declarations with DATEV, and small companies use it because they export to DATEV as their tax consultant uses it to do the accounting and the fiscal declarations for them. The third scenario is Odoo as a standalone system. Also, this scenario works because Odoo is a full-blown accounting system. One of the biggest differences between Odoo and other accounting systems in Germany is the concept of the debtor and creditor accounts. In Odoo, we have one contact. We can sell to and we can buy from this contact. This means that the contact is a customer and a supplier at the same time. For sure, we can have a standalone supplier, we can have a standalone customer, but if one company happens to be our customer and a supplier at the same time, no problem. In Odoo, we can create the contact and we only need to create the company once. On the other side, in DATEV and SAP, we separate between the debtor, which is the customer, and the creditor, which is the supplier. Here, the debtor and the creditor are two separate entities. Sometimes we encounter the following requirement. The debtor and the creditor must be two separate entities, and for this reason we need to split up the contact in Odoo. We do not have to implement this requirement to fulfill the law. That's important to know. We only need to separate all business transactions for a debtor, and we need to separate all business transactions for a creditor. This is much easier, the usability will be better, and the accounting will be much simpler. I will show how it's done, but before we need to dig deeper into the requirement. Many arguments are going on regarding this topic, and the ones say that the separation must be done as entities, and the others say the separation must be done in different accounts. So let's dig deeper to get to the bottom of the real accounting requirement that's underneath this requirement. Only if we understand the real accounting requirement, we can assess what will work and what not. So let's have a look at the booking for an invoice in the partner ledger. So let's imagine we sell to our client an item which costs 119 euros. Then this amount is split up between the income, 100 euros, and 19% value added tax. This is very clear, and all the accounting systems do these three lines identically. What is presumably different is that in SAP and DATEV, you have a fourth booking line, which looks something like this. You have the debtor account number, you have the debtor, you have the amount which is being booked on the debtor, and this line is basically the booking in the partner ledger. And all the confusion comes from this very red accounting line in the partner ledger. In Germany, as a medium-sized or big company, you will not get around this because all tax consultants and auditors work like it. So how we do this in Odoo? First, we enter the customer number in the reference field. Second, we enter the debtor account number in the DATEV identifier field in the accounting tab. Please note that the DATEV identifier field is a field in the Odoo Standard. However, the same field for the creditor is missing, so we need to create it. In the third step, we can export this debtor account number to DATEV, and all the partner ledger can be done in DATEV. Attention, again, this field DATEV identifier here, it's in the Odoo Standard, but you need to go to the debug mode to see it. And it's only intended for the debtor account. As I said, the field for the creditor account is missing. So this is the simple solution. So if we want to have the partner ledger also in Odoo, then we need to do a bit more than that. We need to go to the partner ledger in Odoo, and please note that the partner ledger in Odoo is standard. We do not have to build a new partner ledger. It's there. The only thing we do is we add the debtor account number, respectively the creditor account number, in a new column called DATEV account number. And what you see here now is exactly what was highlighted in red in the accounting line that I showed you before. You have all the information we need. You have the company name, you have the DATEV account number, you have the amount. And now we come to the most important point. Odoo has two built-in filters, and we can switch between receivables and payables. If we select the filter receivable, we will only see booking entries for the debtors, which are the customers. If we select the filter payable, we will only see booking entries in the partner ledger for the creditors, which are the suppliers. So let me conclude. We can completely separate all the bookings for receivables. So we are on the debtor and customer side, from all the payables when we are on the creditor supplier side. So we can separate all the bookings. We can show the debtor account number for the receivables, and the very same thing, we can show the creditor account number for payables. And we can use the same contact here, the test company, GmbH. We can use it as both the creditor and the debtor. The advantages are as follows. There's no redundancy. There's more simplicity. And what I like very much is we can stay closer to the Odoo Standard, reducing maintenance cost. And yet, the DATEV, respectively SAP consultant, the tax consultant, and the auditor all will be happy because they will see their DATEV account number and they will have a partner ledger that they are familiar with. There are multiple more things in the accounting where you might think the Odoo Standard does not suffice. For example, the general reversal, in German Generalumkehr. We recommend to get to the bottom of additional requirements before dismissing Odoo or before doing extensive programming. So here is our Odoo Standard approach. First, we use the Odoo Standard or use apps from the marketplace. Second, we get to the bottom of additional requirements. And third, we tweak the standard. To me, Odoo is like modeling clay. You need to model it, you need to tweak it until it fits the requirements. And only if this does not work, then we perform custom development as a last resort. So, Odoo might do much more than you think if you know where to look. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them now in the questions and answers. Also, please visit us in our virtual stand at the Odoo Experience. Also, you can contact us on our contact form on the website, or you can send an email. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully meet you soon in one of the possibilities that I showed here. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the live Q&A session. I want to welcome Manuel too. Thank you first of all for the interesting presentation about German accounting. I want to remind everyone to use the chat you'll find right there to ask any kind of questions. We will have some minutes right now to discuss directly with Manuel. Manuel, again, thank you very much for the presentation. I already had a few questions. I think we could start to discuss, and then come back to the chat to see the questions of the public. So the first question is related to the general ledger. Would you use different general ledger accounts for different debtors, or how do you see it's best?
I wouldn't do it. I know that this is an approach. The drawback is for every debtor, you would have a general ledger account, and then you would have your journal entries on this account, and later on you would have to rebook it on the main general ledger account, which is an additional effort. If you're using to create new debtor and creditor accounts, as I explained it in the video, then you save lots of trouble. The usability is better, and the accounting is more simple.
Okay, great. Thank you for your answer on that. In your opinion, is there maybe something else needed to make an auditor happy with regards to German accounting in Odoo?
Oh yes, there are quite a few things that are needed in addition. For example, in Odoo Standard, you can delete invoice documents, and something like this is not allowed. And for this, we provide extra modules that prevent something like this. So you cannot delete any invoice documents or any other important PDFs. Another thing, as an example, is starting in Odoo 14. In Standard, what you can do is resequence invoice numbers. And if you tell this to an auditor in Germany, they get a heart attack. So we deactivate this feature. There are a couple of more things related to accessibility. Like the auditor calls this set 1 to set 3 access. Then everything needs to be traceable, like the step-by-step approach in Odoo, like lead, quotation, sales order, invoice. And as always, as I explained in the talk, many things can be done in the standard. A few things need to be tweaked, and also we need a few extra modules to do it.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I can already see also there are a few more questions coming in through the chat. The first of one I want to discuss is I think very famous topic for German accounting. What about Odoo and DATEV? Are there any extra modifications needed to use accounting and DATEV in Germany, excluding any kind of studio modification?
Yes, yes, there is. Since Odoo version 13, Odoo has in standard a DATEV integration. However, it does not work. And for this reason, we need extra modules to make it work. And also, when you want to see the debtor and creditor accounts in the partner ledger, you cannot do this with Studio because the partner ledger is implemented with SQL statements. It's not implemented with the normal ORM that Odoo usually uses. It's done with SQL. And for this, we have also provided an app that enhances the partner ledger.
Okay, great. Thank you also for that answer. Just going through some other questions right here. Do you have any solution for migrating to future versions?
Actually, Odoo has a solution. You have like Odoo provides upgrade bots. So basically, you can upload your database, Odoo upgrades, and you get it back upgraded. For sure, that's true for the standard and for studio enhancements. But sometimes there are issues, there are problems, sometimes even with studio fields. And for sure with third-party apps. And for them, you need to basically upgrade the respective apps. And sometimes you need to focus on moving the data to the new fields if there are data model changes.
All right. Next one here I have is why don't you use the Hashlog to log postings instead of customer modules? Isn't that a solution?
Actually, we do use this module. This module, it's great. It's out since version 13. It's a huge improvement to make the auditor happy. However, this will only prevent you from deleting the invoice itself. It does not prevent you from deleting the invoice document. We need to differ. The invoice, it's the object in Odoo. You know, when you go in Odoo, you open the invoice, you see it. But the PDF that's generated, that's something else. And we prevent the PDF from being deleted. And for this, we provided an extra module. But I like the question because that's what we like. We want to always challenge, isn't this possible in standard, and why not? We're asking the same questions, actually.
Well, that's a clear explanation. Thank you also for that. Coming back a little bit to the DATEV topic, do you manage to do DATEV exports that are perfectly imported into the external accountant's DATEV?
I would say 95%.
95%.
The thing is, there are different customers with different fields and different third-party apps. And for them, we do small tweaks, but the base, it works, yes. But as I saw a few comments about DATEV and a nice comment from my colleague Eugen, it's a big pain to do the DATEV integration. And so it's good to start with a good base, and then a few percent of the fields, in particular, if you're using certain third-party modules, they need to be fixed.
Okay, thank you for that, Manuel, too. Next question is related to the PDF of the invoice. Is it also required to be uploaded in DATEV as well?
Actually, it should be uploaded in DATEV. It makes it easier for the accountant. It does not have to be, but the accountants and the auditors, I know they prefer if you do it. And the good thing is that DATEV has an import for these PDFs. In German, it's called Belegbild Import. And in Odoo, there's a really great feature. You can actually use the Documents app to provide these PDFs and provide them to DATEV. It's a bit tricky to set this up, but if you do it correctly, then you can actually use them in DATEV. For this question, I want to emphasize one thing. You can make it more simple if you change the number range for the invoice numbers. You know, the slash that Odoo has in the standard, DATEV does not like this. And also if you store this PDF somewhere, so this Windows does not like this, or Linux don't like it. So don't use the slash, and you save lots of trouble when you integrate also for the PDFs.
Thank you for that tip, Manuel. We're already coming to an end in this Q&A session. Are there maybe any last remarks, any last comments that you would like to do?
I want to repeat, Odoo is a great system, and a few additional modules are needed to make it work. In particular, the DATEV export, among a few other things, but it can be done.
Okay, Manuel, thank you very much, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.